Hey guys, I'm so happy that you tuned back in. And for those of you who are new, welcome to my channel. I am the Roaming Roman, and in today's video, we'll be going over the 5 basic interview questions that you need to prepare for in order to have a successful interview. And also we'll be going over the 3 most common scenarios to expect during your interview process as well. Stay tuned. The first common interview question that you can expect is, do you have any previous teaching experience? This is a basic question that I hope you're prepared for. It's a question that would be asked whether you're teaching abroad or here at home. The second interview question to be prepared for is, how do you deal with a child who is breaking the rules in your classroom? Something that I noticed during my interview process is that they spent a lot of time on this question. Predominantly to be able to see whether you are a disciplinary teacher while also staying and engaging in a warm teacher and keeping your classroom a welcoming environment for the kids who are well behaved in your classroom, and also for the kids who sometimes need a little bit extra monitoring in your classroom as well. So really think about this question. Don't go on and on and on about a scenario. Be concise, be straight to the point, but also be warm and engaging about your answer. So the third common question for you to expect is, why do you love teaching abroad? Now, if you've taught abroad before, then this question will be a pretty easy answer for you. However, if you haven't taught abroad, I can see how this question will be intimidating for you and you have no idea how to answer it, right? My best advice for you is to show that you're an open-minded person, that the reason why you want to teach abroad, even though you haven't yet, is to experience a new culture, to engage with students, and to be able to better yourself as a teacher and apply those different teaching skills to the classroom in the current school that you will teach at in the future, and also to how you're able to apply it better when you come back home. And the fourth common question here is something that you want to make sure that you do plenty of research on prior to your interview. Is they're going to ask you, what do you know about whatever country you're going to, okay? So when I applied for South Korea, they said, what do you know about South Korea? Why South Korea? And then when I applied to China, they said, oh, well, why China? You know, it's so far away from home. Why would you want to come? So they ask you these questions. It's not meant to grill you. You know, don't try to sit there and give a history lesson on their own country, okay? They're just wanting to see that more human side of you, because at the end of the day, something that we all have to admit is that we do have people who are wanting to travel, right? And they may just be using the excuse of teaching to kind of get a free plane ticket to get to that country, right? So they want to make sure that when you're coming, that yes, their country is beautiful. Yes, you want to experience different cultures and food and different activities that you may not be able to experience back home. But they also want to make sure that you have a realistic insight of the country too. You're going to be living somewhere for a year or more. So they want to make sure that you have a well-rounded view of where you're going and that you're at least a little prepared on what to expect when you arrive. And the fifth, and actually one of the most important questions, is super common as well, is, do you have any questions for us? Well, you should have plenty of questions for them, as you should in any interview, but especially for positions on where you will be living abroad. This is the time to show them that you've done your research, that this wasn't just just a whim that you decided to apply to them one day. This is something that you've looked into, something that you know that, okay, I'm qualified and this is what I should be getting, okay? And it's okay to ask certain questions that may seem more taboo here, isn't so out there, okay? And the first of those questions is payment, okay? It's okay to ask them, how much will I be getting paid? I know here in the States, for example, they always tell you don't want to say that during your interview process because people are going to think, oh, it's just all about the money. For them, it's not that it's all about the money. They know that you're going to be living somewhere for a year, most likely by yourself abroad, all right? So they know that you're just wanting to make sure that you have a secure finances while you're out there as well. Another question that you'll like to ask is whether or not they supply health insurance, or if they at least pay for half of your health insurance as well. When I applied for a job in South Korea, I did get it. I didn't take it, and we'll talk about that at a different video, but they were going to pay for half of my health insurance. Meanwhile, in China right now, the university I work at, they are going to pay for my full health insurance. So you do want to ask them those questions. Continue to ask about accommodations. Is my rent included? For that rent, is the utility included? How much energy? If my utilities are included, how big of a stipend do I have for my energy bill? You also want to ask things such as, is my flight included? Is it a round flight? Okay, these are things that you want to ask. Ask about the city that you're going to be in. Is it foreigner friendly? How's transportation? What is the distance between my apartment and the school? So these are different types of questions that you're wanting to be able to ask in order to show them that you're invested and you're really excited for this opportunity, but at the same time, you know your value as a teacher and you're wanting to know what they can do for you as well. So the first common scenario I want to go over is something that people should be aware of. And I feel like they are, but sometimes we forget. I know that I did, and it's late hours. So especially if you're applying for positions in Asia like I am, where the time difference can be 11 or 12 hours or even more, okay? Do keep in mind that anytime you have an interview, it will be based on their time frame, on their office hours. So I'm a teacher here, and you know, all the other teachers, you already know the struggle. Sometimes you have to get up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. and in order to go to work, right? And so I had the interview and they said, oh, it's at 1 o'clock Beijing time. Holy moly, Beijing time. I realized, oh, 1 a.m. Okay. And you're going to say, okay. You don't want to seem like you're going to be high maintenance, okay? It's all right to just do one late nighter. You can get through it. I know you can. For me, you still want to look professional, right? So personally for me, I get really bad bags under my eyes when I get exhausted. I don't know, it's like I have like little balloons under there or something. So I put my little face mask on, I put it in the freezer, put it on my face to help with the bags under my eyes. And I had a big glass of chilled water to help keep me awake and a little bit of a Red Bull on the side as well, which wasn't smart because then after the interview, I could not sleep. So do plan accordingly, okay? Still dress professionally. Make sure you have makeup on. Make sure you do your hair, okay? They're still want to make sure that you are professional and that you're serious about this position, no matter the time. A second very common situation that you're going to find yourself in is more than one interviewer. They're going to tell you that you have one interviewer, that you're going to meet with so-and-so, but you're going to get into that web interview and you're going to see two people looking back at you. This is something that I realized during my several interviews that I have had. And it's not just some person that they decide to add to the interview. Sometimes it is not just the coordinator, it can be the headmaster of the school, which is what happened to me. During these scenarios, stay calm. Sometimes you just need to take a little deep breath. Do know that it's still just an interview. They're here for you and you're there for them. You know the questions. You've done the research on them. You've prepared for them. Stay warm, stay engaging, stay friendly, okay? And just let the interview run its course, okay? Something that I want to prepare you for is our third scenario here, okay, which is language swapping. And the reason why I put these two together, language swapping and the two interviewers, is because if it's your first interview, you're going to be intimidated, okay? So do know that even though your interview's language is top notch, English is still not their first language, right? So if they ask you a question and you give an answer, they're consulting with each other about it, they're going to talk to each other in their native language. It doesn't mean that they're talking bad about you. It doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. They're just talking, all right? So make sure that when this happens, don't panic, don't look panicked, don't look confused. Just stay there smiling and engaging and be prepared for the next question that they're going to ask you. But language swapping is something that's very common. Also, because of this, make sure that you're pacing yourself as you're speaking during your interview. Now, they're very educated, right? They know 2 languages or more. They work in a school, they're a headmaster of school or a coordinator, so they are very capable, but you still want to pace yourself, right? But not to the point where you're so slow that you're coming off odd or even rude. You know what I'm talking about when I say that, okay? So just stay professional, pace yourself. Don't be intimidated when they start talking to each other in their native tongue. They're just talking about you and analyzing your question, analyzing the answer to their questions. Be prepared for the next question and just be confident while you're answering. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again. For my next video, I'm going to go over the 5 most shocking questions that I was asked during my interview process. You're not going to believe it. So please stay tuned, like, share, and subscribe to this channel, and I will see you guys soon.